Your time. Hi everybody, my name's Scott Hillier, independent film director and president of the AAIFF Film Festival Group, which encompasses 4 film festivals all around the world. We have the All America's Independent Film Festival, AAIFF, the European Independent Film Festival, the All Asian Independent Film Festival, and the recently finished All African Independent Film Festival, which was hosted in Kigali, Rwanda, a couple of weeks ago. On this podcast today, we're going to be talking to some of the award-winning filmmakers that were awarded during the festival. So we're very, very excited to have them on board. Just before we go to these very talented people, the storytellers of our generation, I just thought I'd like to play the sizzle reel, which is a short clip of all of the clips that participated in the film festival. Well, okay, it gives me goosebumps just rewatching that amazing compilation of films done by one of the clever young people in our office at the moment. I'm going to go first to Nick. Nick Redding was born in London, actually, and he's up in the 5 hours north of Nairobi right now on a bit of a dodgy connection, he says. So I'd like to go to Nick first, who directed an amazing film called Sarah. Nick, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your film?
So I should have been joined by my co-writer and co-producer, Sarah Tenoy. I don't know if she's jumped on yet. I'm the founder of an organization called SAFE, which is a Arts for Social Change organization. We began as an HIV theater company in Mombasa about 25 years ago. And it's grown into 4 regional programs, and we work on a lot of issues, and one of them is female genital mutilation abandonment, which was done at the request of my co-producer and co-writer, Sarah Tenoy, who is the project manager and founder of Safe Ma, which is our Maasai team in the Loite Hills. And this film was developed as a result of almost 20 years of working on this subject and the extraordinary success that Sarah and her team have had in abandonment.
I mean, it's a very, very powerful film. Very, very powerful. Um, Tell me how how difficult was to actually make this film?
Come again, Scott?
Yeah, I was just saying, I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful story and very, very touching and poignant. How hard was it to make the film?
Um, uh, I don't know. It was a long time in the making. Sarah and Amos and I had discussed the desire to make this film for many years before we actually did. We made it incredibly quickly, but we had a team of people who we've all worked together for nearly 20 years, and that enables a level of trust which is irreplaceable, really. And we were, it's a very complex and complicated issue, and the route towards abandonment in communities like this is a long journey, which is why we've always at SAFE taken a very longitudinal approach towards this work. But the film for us was a way of sharing the journey that families have gone on in loiter. And it's a subject that we all know extremely well. So we were able, I think, to develop a story that really allows audiences to understand this community and maybe demystify something that people who come from communities where it's not practiced can perhaps understand the dilemmas and the drivers behind this practice, which is, of course, a cultural norm. The filming was an extraordinary experience. I think we all absolutely loved it. And not only have we wanted to do it for such a long time, but we all felt the real importance of getting this story made and sharing the journey that this community has been on, because obviously our aim is for as many people to move away from this practice as is possible.
Talk to me a little bit about the people in the film, the actors and actresses who were extraordinary. Um, how did you get those performances? I mean, should I hazard a guess and suggest that they're not professional actors, or
They're not professional actors. I mean, the all of the adult actors are members of the Safe Mar team. So, and a lot of them were singers because we've always used Maasai song as a way of communicating information. Traditionally, Maasai song is a way of passing information, so they adapt very successfully to be able to talk. Initially, we were talking about HIV and condom use. And then at Sarah's request, we started to perform a performance where there was a group of men and women singing one song in favor of FGM and a group of men and women singing a song against FGM and interrupting each other. And so there was an element of performance, but it wasn't acting. And so we ran some workshops with all the staff to see who could act. And remarkably, almost everyone was, I think, an incredible actor. And then we had to find the girls. So we sort of put a call out in Loiter for young women. And Namuru, who plays Sarah, was the second girl who walked in on the audition day, and Ngoje, who plays Evelyn, was the third girl who walked in, which I couldn't quite believe we'd found the two leading ladies so early in the day, but as it turned out, we had. And they were phenomenal. And we work in a very improvisational way. So it means that they have to be comfortable to be a little bit free. Some of the scenes were scripted, but a lot of them we just worked on people's truths and desires and wants and allowed the dialogue to develop out of a few rehearsals and then started shooting it, which makes
is
editing a lot more complicated, but I think the results are worth it.
no, the results? I mean, you must have the patience of Job, because going in like that is amazing, and it shows it. It screams off the screen. I was very, very impressed. Very, very impressed, man. It was a very, very good job. I'm going to move
Thank you
on
very much.
to another young filmmaker from Rwanda who has just joined us. Mahira has been with us. He was with us last year in the student category. He won the prize, the award, and he also won again this year for his film called So-Called Friend. Mahira, are you there? Can you hear us? Hey, how are you, man? How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. Turn your camera around so I can see you like in a film format.
You are saying?
Turn your camera around so I can see this way. Do it like that.
You are saying to show you around.
No, 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 don't show me around. I don't want to. I just want you to turn the camera around so it's in 16 by 9.
Hey, okay. Like this.
There we go. Like that. There we go. All these young people these days lock their films. There you go. Hey, so Mira, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your film So-Called Friend?
Okay, thank you. As we said, my name is Method Hire. I'm a student film from Rwanda, here in East African University, Rwanda. Yeah, in this previous edition, my theme, I submitted a film called So-Called Friend. Yeah, it's a film about betrayal between two best friends.
It's an increase. Your filmmaking skills have improved dramatically in 1 year. How did you make that happen? Did you study harder? Did you make more films? Because this is a proper film now.
I can say just because I love filmmaking, I just love to tell stories, especially when it comes to visual storytelling. So me, I'm way too obsessed with writing script and shooting. That's what keep pushing me. Of course, because I'm a student, I can say also it also pushes me, but it's not that I'm a student. Just I love film.
You went a bit dramatic in this film, as in you killed somebody. Why did you go that far? What was the intent? Because you're a gentle guy. No, I've lost him. Can you put him back up on the screen so I can have a quick look?
He's on the screen, he's just frozen.
Hey, Mahira,
What
can you
is
hear me?
it?
No. Okay. So anyway, he's a very talented young filmmaker, driven with a passion and a desire to tell stories.
He's back.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear us again now? No. Anyway, so as mentioned, he won the Rwandan Film Student Corner last year with a film that was okay, not great, but we could see his potential, a great deal of potential, and this year this film is outstanding. So we applaud his desire and his ability to make films, and we discussed this a couple of times over beers in Kigali. He's not scared, and a lot of young African independent film directors are a little bit scared to take the first step, and this young man definitely is not. And another young man who's not afraid to take a step forward and tell an amazing, strong film is Nana Kofi from Ghana. His film was outstanding. Wrong Way. How are you? How are you doing? Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, and then tell us a little bit about Wrong Way, which got an amazing reception at the festival in Kigali.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Perfect.
Great. Okay. So my name is Nana Kofi Estihini. I'm a filmmaker from Ghana. I've worked in the commercial space for a while, and after a while, it felt very stale because I felt like as an artist, to be able to um, change the narrative or speak to my people through film. So I decided to make a film. And this is my second short film. It wasn't written by me. I co-wrote it with co-producer of the story. It was something that came out of a conversation about how the young people in Ghana, or let's say around the world, become a bit disconnected from consequences. And so we wanted to tell a story that played or put a spotlight on the issue of karma and how karma can be very, very present and maybe just a little way of jolting young people into remembering that in our quest to make money or find success, there are certain things that could come back and bite you. So yeah, that's why we made the film, and that's a little bit about me.
Again, it was a very, very strong film, and of course, I won't give it away as a spoiler, but the last few minutes of the film, the gasps from the audience were very impressive. So you did a good job. You got the
Thank you.
reaction I think that you were looking for. Has the film been shown in Ghana at all?
Yes, it has been shown in two other screenings. Yeah, before this one.
Do has what's the reaction been there? Do you think that the younger people may have actually got the message that you were trying to send?
Yeah, I mean, I think it drums home the message. I've had people react immediately, and I've had other people react later. I mean, I guess everybody reacts to some of these points differently. But yeah, the reaction is there, and I guess it's made the impact I wanted to make. And and thank you for such an opportunity to show it to other audiences, and I get to show it to the whole world.
Well, I loved I loved everything about it. Were they professional actors or were they
Oh, it's a
semi-pro?
mixture. It's a mixture. So I'll tell you what happened. The day before we were going to film, two of my main characters bailed. So the main character, I prepped at 4 p.m. the day before, and he came on set the next day and delivered. Everybody else, apart from the three main people, are people who've been in certain roles. But the key interesting one is the preacher on the bus does not speak English, and the script was written in English. So what we had to do was we had to let him understand what he had to do. And I guess people who preach in the bus is quite a common thing in Ghana. So, and he's a bus driver, so I guess he's seen people do it most times. So he was a natural. He gave us more than enough, and that was the most difficult part to edit because he gave us a lot of um, um, takes that we could use. But yeah, that's so it's a mixture of professional. Some of them have been in films as extras. For them, it was fun. For some of them, it was like a very first time, so they were amazed by the experience. So yeah,
How long did it take you to shoot the film, out of curiosity?
it was a 1 day shoot. We had to do it in 1 day. We got on set at 7 a.m., started rolling around 9 a.m. We wrapped at I think 5:45. We were done, and we edited the next day, went into coloring in I mean, in a week we were done because there were other things we had to do. And this was to test the crew's abilities for upcoming projects.
My goodness, I salute you for that because
Thank you.
wow, I expected a long day, and particularly the good thing about it is when you're an independent film director, when your two lead actors disappear on the day before, you just deal with it and you just make it
Yeah,
happen,
what
and
film
it was
is
probably for
about.
the better. It was probably for the better as
Yeah,
well because it's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
film. Congratulations, man!
Thank you
I
very
sense that
much.
we're going to see many many more films from you. So it's a great
Definitely.
work. I'm going to go to another guy I know quite well, and we've shared a couple of drinks in bars in Kigali. Ian, are you there, Mr. Ten Toes Down? Hey, you look like you're in the jungle there, young man.
I don't know. I
So
think I changed some settings here just to see how the jungle looks like.
nice, nice.
Put
Ian, I
around.
know a lot about you and about your film, but why don't you tell the people who don't know much about you or anything about your film? Introduce yourself and tell us about your film.
Yeah, okay. So my name's Ian Gituku, and I'm a Kenyan-based filmmaker. Mostly I like to do documentaries. Back then I used to do a lot of films in the wine industry. So I called my film production company The Wine Story Films because I wanted to remember the deep stories that I learned. So in 2024, I met somebody called John Kadivane, who's a rally car driver, and we just had some drinks and lunch, and he told me about his father. His father was also a legendary rally driver, And my dad and I used to go and watch him, race around the tracks back then. And I found him to be a very intriguing guy. So I told him, by the way, could I come to the workshop and, follow your story? And after some time, what happened is, I followed him for 1 year, and I was able to come up with a story about him trying to break away from his father's shadow. And because everyone just refers him to as the son of, the son of, the son of. So with him, he's trying to do something different. And so we filmed this stretched out within the 2024, and we released this film called Ten Toes Down this year.
And you forgot to mention the fact that you actually won Africa's Best Independent Documentary Film for
That's the
2025.
biggest point. That's the biggest point. So actually, so I won Africa Independent Film Festival Best Documentary. And one very key thing about this is I had met Scott now the year before that. I went to Kigali because I wanted to understand how to win a festival, what it takes, and just to learn about the industry in general. So I came and I learned so much from this film festival. That was in 2023. And I decided I'm gonna come back with this film because I knew I'm gonna submit here and try my luck. Yeah, so I learned so much, especially with the workshops, man. The workshops are priceless. The one we did, and I took home those notes, especially the cinematography workshops. I learned so much about interviewing subjects and tension and all those things. Sometimes you think you know everything until you meet, someone like Scott. Yeah.
Who unfortunately thinks he knows a lot as well. But your film was great, and the fact you took aboard lessons and you redid things. I remember telling you, like, make it 4 minutes long and then come back and talk to me. But it's a great story, and like all of the filmmakers on this call, and the many that submit to the festival, we can see it year after year, and it's only the second year, but we're already getting films for next year. Is the fact that young African film directors are looking for that authentic voice. And I loved your film particularly for that. It was great. Good. Okay, so now we're going to bounce over to Switzerland to talk to Rolf. Rolf is made a film that actually kept my very raucous, loud, distracted, and often unconcentrated office. They were mesmerized by your film, Rolf. Absolutely mesmerized, as was I. Astonishing piece of work. Astonishing piece of work. So why don't we learn a little bit about you, and then tell us about the genesis of this film?
I'm Rolf Fellet, a filmmaker from Switzerland. The story about this film is it was a journey where I started here in Zurich with my bicycle, and I wanted to land in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. And during this journey, I met a lot of people. And with some, I spent more time and we discussed about certain topics. And then a scene was together developed, and some of these scenes create now this film. So this film was quite a collective, spontaneous, intuitive work. And yeah, it turned out that during my journey and during the talks I had with these people who became friends, it was always about the transience of the body and the finiteness. And yeah, it's some stories are personal from me, some stories are personal from the protagonists, but they're all connected through this feeling of being transient on this world. And yeah, that's more or less.
So I was transfixed by the opening of your film about the spinning grass man, is what we called that in the office. Can you tell me about when was the first time you saw that, and how did you actually film that? Because it's beautifully filmed, and speaking as a director of photography here, I mean, this is extraordinary. Extraordinary. Talk to me through this.
Thank you. I was in south of Senegal, and uh, I saw a video. Someone showed me a video of this creature, and he said this creature is in these villages here. And this creature, I was seeing that on the video, and it actually turns 8 times faster than it is in the film. So it's really fast and spinning, spinning, spinning. And I was instantly, I was blown away, as you said, mesmerized, going into trance immediately when I saw this picture. And I asked, wow, what is it? Where? And can I see it? And we started to organize and to go to that village where it sometimes appears. And we met people in this village and talked to them that we would like to do a film. And I was also asking, how is it working? How is it doing? How is it doing this? And who is doing this? And the guy in the village told me, you don't ask who, because it's not a human. It is a spirit, an entity, a creature. And it's part of our tradition, and it comes to benefit humans. It comes in times of conflict, or in times of celebration, or in times of harvesting, to give the blessing. So yes, we can do that film, he said, but you're not going to come into the holy forest where the creature comes from. We're just going to meet here, we're going to shoot this film, and the creature will go back. And so I cannot tell you how it really works, and it's a secret to be guarded. And I find it beautiful that even within the film it should stay like this, and it should even support this feeling of what is it really. And it's actually a symbol of seeing spirit and life and ghosts in all the things around me as a human being, even in stones, in skies, in forests. Everything is actually has a spirit, and that's part of the belief in the south of Senegal.
I feel better with my life having that image in my head. So you've achieved, I think, what we all try to do as storytellers, and particularly visual storytellers. It's sort of opened my mind up to a different thing. It's just fabulous. I also read that the actors weren't actors. Is that true? The guy, like particularly the homeless guy in the house. How do you get a performance like that, and the look and the feel and the authenticity?
So they were not only actors, they were real persons, and even co-authors and co-directors. But we were always just the two of us on set. So I did the camera, and we developed the scene together. And I mean, there is a story. It's actually an encounter. There is a story behind each scene. But with this particular person, I met him in a cafe in Abidjan. And we were strangers, suddenly talking about our lives in a very honest way. And he was telling me that he actually came out of prison quite recently, and he lost everything. His wife left, his family abandoned him, he does not have any money. And what's left for him is that he has his body. And I was listening to the song of Nina Simone some weeks before, and it came to my mind that I told him about this song, and he didn't know it, and he listened to it, and he immediately got very touched by this song. And we decided to do this scene together based on the song and his own experience. So it was quite natural for him to speak out this poem. And he also said it was also even liberating for him to talk about this openly, and even now publicly. It was enforcing, that's what he told me maybe some month ago when we talked again on the phone, that it was, how to say, empowering him, sharing it and not trying to hide it, and not trying to just be open with all his situation in his life.
Well, you did a fantastic job. Well, for me as well, and I think a lot of my staff here, and particularly the audience in Kigali, they were touched by everything, the visuals, the mystique, I think, the story behind the story, and the authenticity in what you did was amazing. So do not stop doing that. You're very, very good at this. And I have one question. How bloody long did it take you to bicycle down all the way down there?
It took me 7 months, but I cheated a lot. I took the bus, I took the boat. Yeah. If
Well,
I would
it's a
cycle all the
hybrid
way, I
bicycle.
think it would take more than 12 months.
Yeah. Well, already it's a pretty good effort, man. Pretty good effort.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations. I loved it. So now I'm sorry, everybody, we've gone through a bit of a long introduction thing, but on Sunday night in Kigali, this festival here, we stood on stage with the winner of the director of the film Mummy Water. And he presented the award for Africa's Best Independent Film 2025 to an amazing film, a very, very strong and powerful film called The Yellow Dress. And at the moment, I believe that we have Mike Lolly, who you produced the film, right?
Yes, I just want to show this first.
Congratulations, man. So introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your involvement in the film and the film itself.
So my name is Mike, full-time filmmaker. I've mostly worked as a documentary filmmaker and a music video director for a long time. And so I've been bouncing between the commercial and the independent space for quite some time. About this film, The Yellow Dress, I am heavily involved in it. If you go through the credits, I wrote the film, I produced it, and I also shot it. The film is basically based on real life events. It's based on a true story on a couple that I knew about, and I just drew inspiration from this story. The guy used to be a friend of mine, so every time they went through something in the relationship, he was always opening up about the challenge, and I would take inspiration from that. So for like a year, I wrote the film, and I thought, since I wrote it, it would only be fair if a woman would direct it. So I reached out to Carol. She's a big director. She works independently here with local artists. And I reached out to her, sent her the script, and she loved it. And she asked, "Who do you have in mind for that can play this character?" When I was writing this, I already had this male character in mind. I saw him play this part. I just didn't know who I would reach out to when it came to the woman playing the role. But then again, I was on Instagram scrolling, and I saw Davina posting stuff on her Instagram, and I thought, I've worked with her before on a certain film. And I just asked her, "Do you want to play this part?" She said, "Send the script." She read it and she loved it. And we all had to meet up. I put the crew together. I had to call everyone, personally called everyone to come on board. I can say I was lucky enough to have a crew that believed in the film. And some of these relationships are just from projects that we've worked on before. And this is how the whole team came together. And we rehearsed for like a week and we shot in 2 days. So,
What?
yeah, we rehearsed for like a week and we shot in 2 days. The reason as well we rehearsed for a week is because Carol, the director, she said she feels that the script is emotionally heavy and the actors need time to process this properly. So I have a friend who runs an Airbnb in Nairobi, and I reached out to her and I asked her if we can use her house, and gave it to us. So we used that space for rehearsal. Since we are going to film in the space, they needed to be movement and all that. And within 2 days, we had to film because they were all still on other productions and they only had 2 days off. So we had to really squeeze everything in that time. And it was, I remember the night before we began filming, the actor was just coming from a different production and he was so tired and he was asking me to bail out. And I told him, "We've really prepared for this. You have to drink some coffee and get new energy." So it was a good experience. Yeah.
Well, you African independent filmmakers making films in 1 day, 2 days, you're beating us like crazy. Congratulations. It's a great film. And as a DP, I thought the shooting was great. I'm a big backlight guy, and I could see that you like it as well. Backlight and shoot the sun, fight the sun all the time. It's your friend. Fabulous. Yeah, loved it. Very powerful ending, and I think the performance of the lead actor, you did very well to keep him on board because his performance was riveting, actually riveting, very strong.
I will
And
let you know.
yeah, and the female lead as well. Please tell her from all of us and the audience in Kigali and whatever. Astonishing job, astonishing. Yes, you have no idea how hard it was for me not to let Ian steal that from you when he brought it back to Kenya. Okay, so
Thank you very
what I'm
much.
going to do now is I'm going to open up the floor to Rodrigo. Rodrigo is the man who brings the power day after day and night after night to the festival. He's got a lot of our clever young things here who know your films well, and they're going to ask you some questions. All yours, Rodrigo.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Scott. So the first question actually comes from one of our interns, Gloria. Let me find her. Gloria. I had her here. Okay. The first yours, Gloria.
Hi, everyone. My question is for Nick. And I would like to ask, since you said that you experimented a lot with improvisation, did this make the actors feel uncomfortable, or they were like more relaxed, knowing they didn't have to play from a written script?
Very much so. I think when you're working with non-actors, to impose a script can be quite restrictive, and the power of non-actors is authenticity. So it's very important that they feel extremely comfortable within the truth of their character. But if they're allowed to create their own dialogue, it gives a freedom, and I think it works. I just worked as an actor in another film, and the director who'd seen Sarah said, "Would you like to do your scene in the same way?" And as an actor, I can say I was pleased to report I found it incredibly liberating to not be restricted by a script, but just to be, stay within your truth and within the narrative of the story.
Thank you.
Perfect. Our next question comes from Nina.
Hello, everyone. So my question is for Mr. Rolf Hellat, the director of Deja Nu. Hello. So one thing that I'm interested in is why did you choose Africa and African culture to be embodied in your piece? Do you have a personal connection with it, or are you just fascinated by the culture?
Well, there are many reasons, actually. I can point out maybe two. One was I was seeing a theater piece in Lausanne, it's the French part of Switzerland, about the Coupe décalé movement. And there were three people playing that theater piece. And the Coupe décalé movement is something that happened in Abidjan and in Paris. And it was, I was amazed by that piece, and I thought, I want to feel this movement in Abidjan, or I want to be in a place where such a movement could have had its origin. So I wanted to go there because of that. And second was I started to realize that actually I'm a lot influenced by European and American culture throughout my life. It was films, it was newspaper, it was everything actually. And I wanted to be more influenced by, for example, sub-Saharan Africa, or I wanted to get more more experience from that side. And I felt like I don't have anything experience from there, even in films. I was not aware of that. So I thought I want to travel with my bicycle to there. Yeah. but it also had a lot of personal circumstances. It was a special period of my life where I had the time to do this. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Our next question comes from Soraya.
Yes, hello. So I'm Soraya. I'm part of the journalism department, and I have a question for Nana in the wrong way. And I was wondering how must have been difficult to like find the right actors for such emotional roles. So like, what was the process behind selecting your actors?
Okay. Like I mentioned at the beginning, my two of my actors bailed out. So like I said, we just had about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours to prep them for this. I also knew that the way we had blocked out the scenes or the sequence in which we were filming, from the time we start filming in the morning till evening, they would have time to absorb what was happening or the story more, and that would help them portray the characters. The only challenge was the heaviest scene where our character goes through that period of realization is one of the first things we shot. So then I had to just prepare him in particular for that scene. I remember speaking to him about 15 to 20 minutes when I got on set that morning just to get him to get in character for that. And one of the supporting characters is also an accomplished actor from Ghana. So he leaned in and helped him portray the character more. But his influence was pivotal because all the times where we were not rolling, they were in constant conversation. So that took some weight off my shoulder, and so they rubbed off each other. And I guess that's why we're able to do this film, or that's why we're able to have them be that involved or sort of sit deep within the character. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Our next question comes from Lisa.
Hi, my question is also for Nana, and I wanted to ask you how winning at the All African Independent Film Festival has impacted your career, and if it has opened any new opportunities, and in general, what you learned from participating in the festival.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So one of the reasons why we did this film was we're preparing for a number of feature films. And winning this award is sort of like validation for me personally, not just for me, for the crew too. It's sort of telling you that okay, you've done something, people like it. It has impact, and it sort of gives you the power or the courage to go forward and make more films like this. So it's been really impactful. Personally, I think it's pivotal because I mean, as an artist, you always suffer with imposter syndrome and you question yourself sometimes. So these are some of the things that I think all creatives need to have every step of the way as they mature as artists.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The next question comes from Maya.
Hi everyone, I'm Maya. I have a question for Ian about his film. So I was watching kind of your interview during the festival about the unpredictability of like documentary making compared to a non-documentary film and how things and planning went out the window. And I was just wondering how that experience was like for you, especially in the racing scene.
Yeah, it was quite different for me because it changes all the time because the cars are flaky, they're always being fixed. So as much as you've prepared your short list, you've prepared your cameras and also your treatment, you don't know what's going to happen all the time. When it's just going to put on the car, guess what? Your script has to change to that. Because most of the cars, he has like the workshop had about 14 cars, right? That's the liberties we had. So at any given point, I could tell him, okay, if this doesn't work, we can use that car. But remember, we had planned for a white car, now it's a red car, so we need to change our whole cinematography about that. So I had to learn about, just being ready to go at the moment and be very decisive with decision making. But also, I needed to also be very versatile with the story, and see how it goes. Sometimes he's very, like, my subject would get very stressed about an issue, because remember, he's preparing for a very big event and it could completely change the whole script. So I had to be very patient also as a person, with the team and with him. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
Perfect. Our next question comes from Melina.
Hello, I would like to ask Mike a question about the film. A feature with only two characters can be tedious, I would say. What's your tip for making a story with a few characters as interesting as yours? Because it can be really tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky to create a film with two characters. And this was also a challenge because the film initially was an hour long, yeah. And this is because sometimes she would hold her emotions for quite a long time, and the best part, you'd find the best part of the feeling in those long moments. But at the same time, I knew that this can't go for long like this, so we have to cut it down. And I think if I had more characters within the scene, it would be easy to work around those emotional moments. And this is how I ended up bringing in a phone conversation with her sister, and just to break some of those moments between that. And the easy part about it's because I knew it's a love story, so there's always that masculine perspective to this story, and there's that female side of it. So that tete-a-tete moment where there is a push and pull, it just felt like a dance with this one. But I know for a fact it's not easy. I've seen a couple of films that have been done like this that goes for 2 hours, 3 hours, and some of those really inspired me. But if you ask me if I can do it again, I think I would have to think about it first. Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And our last question is actually from me. This question is from Methode. Methode, you directed one film last year, you directed another film this year. Both of them were selected for the Student Corner. What were the lessons that you learned from making your previous film to this one? Something that maybe you learned in this film that you would have liked to apply on your last film. Did you hear me correctly, Methode? Or do you want me to repeat the question?
Okay, can you repeat, please?
Yes. You did a film last year, you did a film this year. The improvement was quite noticeable. What is something that you learned when making this film that you would have liked to apply in your last film?
So I'm having some coming in.
So, what is one lesson that you learned when making this new film that you would have liked to know on the previous film you did?
Oh, okay. For us as filmmakers, each and every project you work on, it gives you like another experience. For the previous one, it was like 9 minutes was filmed, it was almost silent. And this one was based on dialogues. So for this one, I had to play a lot with characters in rehearsals to make sure that their lines, and they memorize their lines and the way they're going to deliver their lines. So basically for this one, I had to pay more attention to the way of delivering the dialogues, which was not that big deal for the previous one. So I can say for this one, I had to deal more with actors, while on the previous one, it was all about cinematography and another visual techniques.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. So we're going back to Scott now.
Hi everyone, sorry, just a little technical problem there with my computer deciding not to keep working any longer. We're going to wrap this up very shortly. I just wanted to thank everybody for being part of what we do on these Friday afternoon and Friday ECU Live here in Paris. One thing I did want to talk about was the fact that we're going to the All Asian Independent Film Festival, which is going to be held in Phnom Penh on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of December, I'm sorry, which is where we'll be screening 28 of the Asia's best independent films from 14 countries. And if I get it right here, I think we're going to play a little promo about about what's happening over in Cambodia in about a month's time. So very similar to what we did over in Africa, but now we're doing it in Asia, as we do it in Europe and also in the Americas continent, the continent of the Americas. I want to thank everybody again for that participated in the podcast. Guys and girls of the African continent are telling us great stories. There's a lot of great authentic stories down there. We have the pleasure of being able to see a lot of them here, screen a lot of them, and we're going to take these films on the ECU on the road tour as well, and we're going to show them all over the world. Great stories, authentic stories that touch you. Our goal here at ECU is, and the ECU Film Festival Group, is we're just trying to make the world a little bit better, one independent film at a time. And it's all these film directors that submit to us, become part of our community, because one thing you may not know just yet, all of you guys participating in the podcast, is that we'll be reaching out to you shortly to become submission judges and then part of the jury for the All African Independent Film Festival 2026. So keep an eye on your mailboxes. I know that you're busy and you tend to make fabulous films in 1 or 2 days. But we'll hope that you can sort of go back and help out the new generation coming along as well. So many thanks to everybody. Many thanks to Rodrigo and the ECU crew who've joined in to make this work. It's great to talk to the people behind the films that we sit here in the office and we watch. It's a true pleasure. Keep working on those authentic voices because they're sounding loud and clear to us. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great weekend and keep on making some great films. Ciao, ciao.